Okay, so tonight it's Good Friday. It's the evening of Good Friday. And I did post a video today, and I didn't expect to post another one today, but boy, has it been a long day. So to make this short, years ago we were getting robocalls from a false prophet, from one of those scams, right? And what they would do is they would call sometimes 3 or 4 times a day, leaving a message from my mother on her answering machine that, evil was surrounding her, and demons and even her family was going to try to hurt her, and all these horrible things. And she had met false Christians, right, in real life, who were trying to turn her against her family. They were trying to convince her that her unconverted family would be used by Satan to hurt her, and unfortunately she believed them because she wanted to believe them, right? um, there were already issues in the family. There were already quarrels, and this just gave her an opportunity to blame everyone else for the trouble, right? And completely avoid any responsibility for her own part in it, because then she could use, Satan this and Satan that, and so she believed it. She ate it up. She made things very difficult at home. At the time, I didn't know about organized stalking. I knew that people were following me. I knew that, obviously, and two, they were coming and leaving feces by our door, and doing other things. But I attributed it all to the fight I had online. I didn't know that it was a more organized campaign against us. I didn't even know such a thing existed. So, what was happening with my mother, I didn't know that it could be part of something bigger. And now I know that it was. Looking back on everything, the stalking, the harassment didn't start with the fight online. It started before that. Okay, because before that, there were people who would just continue coming to my mother. And even before she converted to Christianity, then it was New Age people. Like whatever she was into, there would be people who would come to her and use that against her to manipulate her, to one end or another. Okay. But with the New Agers, it wasn't quite as bad as it was when, with the false Christians, because when the false Christians came, and I say false Christians because Jesus was the Word made flesh, and they don't follow what he said. His word was the golden rule. Don't do unto another what you wouldn't want another to do unto you. Everything else is based on that. They don't follow that. Intentionally trying to sabotage someone's life, intentionally trying to hurt them is not what he said to do. Um, anyway, so when they tried to convince her that her unconverted friends and family would hurt her, and this also, it led to her converting. And then, of course, the robocalls started, reinforcing that same thing. And I'm guessing they're the ones who put us on that list. It made things a lot worse. It made things a lot worse, which is why I eventually converted. I thought things would, it would make things better between us. It would ease the tension, but it didn't. And I didn't know at the time that it wouldn't, that it's not what these psychopaths were looking for. And I mean, the organized stalkers, right? It wasn't my conversion they wanted all along. And once I converted, they just found other excuses, which of course she bought into because she wanted to. Things got pretty tough, and eventually she started starving herself. She wasn't eating, and it got so bad. Whatever we had in the house she didn't want, there was always some excuse that she couldn't have it, and she would say that she wanted something else. And of course, the something else was something we didn't have. And I mean at the apartment, not the house. And of course, the something else was something that we didn't have. So I would go out and run around looking for whatever it was she wanted, and I would get it. And of course, then once I got it, she didn't want it. Right? If we had it in the house, she didn't want it. If we didn't have it, she wanted it. And once I got it, she wouldn't want it. And I was just running myself in circles. I was exhausted, and she was losing a lot of weight, and people were wondering why. And, it, and of course, every time I tried to get her to eat, she would be suspicious of me, right? Not the people who were trying to turn her against her family, and no, me, on the grounds of, well, why would I be trying to make her eat because, well, that's suspicious, isn't it? But if I didn't, she wouldn't eat anything at all. Well, she started that again now. Tonight, they brought her dinner up, and she wouldn't eat it. She's, and she gave a lot of excuses. The same, sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's different. And then she said that, well, it's something else that she wanted, and I'm not going to say what it is, but what she said she wanted, of course, we don't have in the apartment now. Couldn't get it if I wanted to. And also I had gotten it for her a few months ago, and when I got it for her, she didn't eat it. So she's only saying she wants it because we don't have it. And this time, of course, I can't go out. I can't go running around looking for her because we're in the middle of a friggin' pandemic. And she knows that. So we got into quite an argument. Tonight was not a good night. I did scream. I'm so tired. So finally, I ordered her something, and this is stressful because the takeout place, they're pretty good, and but I still have to sanitize everything. Luckily, the shipment of gloves that I had ordered a while back arrived. It got here. Well, I don't remember what day it was. A few days ago. Was it yesterday? The day before? I don't remember. So yeah, that arrived. So I put my gloves on. I put a mask on, and I only have one mask left after this. I did order more masks, but reusable ones, but they haven't come yet. So I put that on, and I took the cash and I went downstairs and I waited for the order to get here. And of course, it's stressful doing that because when everything comes back into the apartment, then I have to sanitize everything, the bag, my keys. I have to warm up the food to make sure there are no viruses or germs in the food because you don't know how careful people are. It's just, I finally had a minute to sit down. And then I noticed that there was something in the food that would probably cause her to make an excuse not to eat it. So before I put it into the oven, I started picking things out of it to make sure she couldn't do that again. So the robocalls have started again. When they initially started a few years ago, I called the number that was listed to have us taken off the list. And in a few days, it stopped. Then it started again after a while, and I called the number again, and it stopped. Well, now it started again. It started again some days ago. And this is bad because, this is why she's pulling the garbage where she's not eating again. And all of this, she's getting more paranoid. And, when I listened to the messages on the machine, then I understood why, because it's starting again. When they convince her that her family is going to try to hurt her, she stops eating, she stops trusting, she stops. So I called the number to have us removed again, but the number was, I don't remember what it said. It was either disconnected or not in service. I can't do this again. At this point, I don't know. I don't know what to do anymore. There's something especially evil about people who would take advantage of others who are in a weakened situation. We're in the middle of a pandemic now, and the calls are now pandemic themed. And of course the message is the same, hurry, hurry, call back right now, because, and then of course you have to pay him to pray for you or to help you or whatever it is. Anyway, so when I was waiting downstairs for the order to come, this guy passed me and I stopped him. He works there. I stopped him to ask I stopped him to ask a question, and he ignored me. He just walked right past. Didn't say a damn thing. Add to that, they've been pounding, thumping on the ceiling, and, they started in the morning, they thumped 3 times, and then on and off. They didn't do it all day long, but on and off, they started thumping on the ceiling. So it's just one stressor after another, after another, after another. The increased pounding now, the increased thumping, the robocalls, which are affecting my mother again and causing her to become more paranoid and mistrusting of me, causing her to start with the food thing again. It's all just piling up, and I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. Tonight was a bad night. I lost my temper, and as much as I say we have to keep our whole, just try to calm ourselves, and I just lost my temper and started shouting. Now it's a studio apartment, so we don't have a lot of space. And now of course she's in the bathroom, screaming about me and Satan this and Satan that, and I'm so tired. And because she was already angry with me, because I'm doing what I have to keep her safe. I have to sanitize everything, and because she's not careful, she'll rub her eyes or she'll eat with her hands, and no matter how many times I tell her, it doesn't do any good. So I have to sanitize everything. The toilet paper. I'm one of those people who buys a lot of toilet paper, but not to hoard. It's because even before the pandemic, she would she would just pull the toilet paper off the roll and just keep pulling and pulling and pulling, sometimes using one roll a day, in a day or two. And so I got angry with her, and she was doing that during the pandemic too. And we don't have, yeah, I mean, our supplies aren't endless, and now it's hard to get toilet paper. She said she would stop, and she didn't. So, eventually just to make sure that, because she was literally using one roll a day. So I put it in the closet, and I told her, look, when you need it, just tell me and I'll give it to you. But she didn't like that much. And, I wouldn't either. It's not nice, and it makes me look like just a bully, but either way, either I'm going to take care of her and make sure things get done and she's healthy, and I get to be called a bully for it, or I just sit back and let it go, and we run out of toilet paper and she'll get sick because of the cross-contamination. And then, it'll be, well, why wasn't I doing my job? Why couldn't I take better care of her? So you're going to be the bad guy no matter what in a situation like this. Eventually I did put the toilet paper back in the bathroom, because it's just not a nice setup when you have to hand it to someone every single time. She swore up and down that she wouldn't, she wouldn't use a roll a day. She wouldn't just keep pulling it off the rolls like that. Well, she did. She one day there was a full roll. That night there was half a roll. In the middle of the night there was it was almost gone. And the next morning there was a full roll on there. So she got up in the middle of the night. She used one roll in a day and in a night, and most of it was in the garbage. I saw it. It was in the trash, and it was clean. She just pulls it off and throws it away. So there was a new full roll on there, and I got angry again, and she said, "Oh, but I wasn't pulling it off the roll. I just took a little bit." Well, yes, but she took a little bit at a time, over and over and over again, for the hours she was sitting in there, until there was nothing left. And by the end of the night, that roll was also almost gone. There's just a tiny bit left. Eventually, because she had been going into the closet, and every time she used a roll, she would get a new one, and it was one a day. So I put duct tape over the closet, and I wrote something on it. One a day is too much, right? And I forgot what I said. It was, but I recently took that off. But it's impulse control, I think, and I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's OCD or something else, but it was difficult to deal with before the pandemic, and it's brutal now, and the stress is just getting the best of me, and we're getting into more arguments. And when I back off, and sometimes I'll back off her for a few days, and it'll be right back to the same thing. I'll back off for a few days, and we're down 3 rolls of toilet paper. In a situation where it's hard to get now, and plus everything I order, everything that comes in has to be sanitized. The packages, it's very stressful, and so I'm doing what I can to make sure that she's safe, and she doesn't do these things, and I'm the bad guy now. So she's already angry with me. She's already pissed off at me. So this makes her more susceptible to believe those robocalls that, oh, Satan is after you, and even your family will be influenced against you, and on and on and on and on and on. It's all happening at the same time. During a pandemic where I can't even get out to walk around for a little while, I can't. I have to stay in here and listen to this all night long about, Satan and demons and this and this and this and this and this, directed at me, because I'm trying to keep her safe and take care of her. And it's hard. I love her. I love her, and this is brutal. And the organized stalkers know that. They know that. That's why they're doing it. And I know they put us back on the list for the robocalls. They're the ones who did it, and they did it now for this reason, because they know the tension it's heating up. It was a bad day. It's a bad night. Anyway, dinner is warming up. The food came, and of course I have to warm it up to make sure there was no contaminants in there. So that's warming up, and I'm gonna go see if that's done. I hope you all are doing okay.